Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we have the Koenigsegg Jesko and you have seen it here in 1:18 scale before. If you haven't yet, then the link will be down below where I check out the incredible GT Spirit variant. So today I'm putting the CM models versus the Tarmac Works side by side, both finished off in the sleek white, to see who does this hypercar justice at this scale. So check it out. But just before we dive in, I thought I'd give you a quick revisit of the 1:18 GT Spirit variant. So here's the car in all its glory, and you can see the exquisite details and the depth of all the different elements of this car, as well as all the colors, the interior, and all the insane aero bits that this car essentially consists of. It's really exquisite. And once again, I advise you to please check out the full review of this car. But of course, all the details of this is what we are going to look at in this 1/64 scale. So take it all in and see what the car is all about. And let's dive into the small scales. And starting off with the first one, we have the CM models here. So this car was released sometime around last year or so. So it's not exactly a new model, but it is available in some new colors. So there is a new orange one available. And I thought, let's check this one out first. CM's usually known for quite high quality. So I'm starting off, I think, with a better one. But to be honest, the Tarmac Works is a newer release. So I'm going by date of release. So starting off with the box, beautiful Jesko writing along with the Swedish flag, and the same in the background just behind the car. Typical CM fashion. You can see the car from top, side, as well as the front and rear, and you have already glimpsed that we do get an extra set of wheels with this car as well. Underneath, just a little bit more information, and then a big Jesko logo just over there. The Jesko is named after Christian von Koenigsegg's father, whose name is actually Jesko van Koenigsegg. So it's really a tribute to the man who helped launch the entire company. So that's a really fitting name for such a cool car. And starting off with a presentation, we've got the typical clear acrylic box. So the car is visible from every kind of side. And you can see that the extra wheels actually push the acrylic box up a tiny bit. It's nothing too bad, but anyways, you could just take that off. And here you have the car in all its glory, and I must say, this thing just looks so awesome. I saw this car unveiled at Geneva Motor Show quite a few years back, and I always said to myself that if there was a model ever released of this car, I'd be picking one up straight away. And of course, yeah, my collection's growing, so this is just another one added to the mix. And I must say, it's a beautiful looking car, this Jesko, especially in this white, is extremely iconic. So starting off with the plinth, it just says Jesko in this kind of white lettering, as well as that little Swedish flag. And it's very simplistic, but it really does the job. It's extremely punchy just to have that. No special number or anything like that, but it gets the message across. Just show you these wheels that it comes with. So it's got these kind of like twin 5-spoke kind of wheels finished off in the silver accent. I'll be putting them onto the car a little bit later on just to see what they look like, but that's what you get in the box. And of course, this CM model does come in other variations. So CM has released the Jesko Absolute variant as well. So this is the Jesko Attack. You can tell the difference by this huge articulating wing. It's made for track purposes, and the Jesko Absolute was more of a high-speed performance car. And this whole rear wing is missing. It's just kind of got these two crazy struts, and CM has those cars available as well. And in real life, only 125 Jeskos will ever be built. So these 1/64s are really a lot more accessible. So I'm happy that we have these to actually look at in real life. But jumping into the model itself, we can see straight away that it's got a really nice looking paint finish. You can see how glossy the clear coat is on the car. On the roof, not exactly as much, especially in this stripe in the middle. It's got more of a kind of satin or matte kind of finish, but the white has quite a lot of gloss in it. And to be honest, it's got a little bit of a pearl kind of like metallic flake in it as well. So it's a really cool looking color, to be honest. And starting off with the details, so we've got this roof with that typical little clear roof section, just so you've got a beautiful visibility out of the driver's area. And then of course these two stripes, and then we've got this insane looking Koenigsegg DLO, once again with this kind of U shape. And I imagine driving this thing, it must feel like you're in some kind of a fighter cockpit or something like that, just wrapping around you all the way. So really awesome design. And then heading a little bit further down, we've got the stripe continuing from the roof down into this air outlet. And you can see we've actually got some three-dimensional texture in this center air outlet as well. Then we've got this accent running all the way around, really well executed paintwork, to be honest. And then we've got these little air outlets, and they're not really, they've got a little bit of three-dimensionality, although I must say this carbon fiber texture takes away from the three-dimensionality quite a lot. So you can see that they are supposed to be kind of like air channels running out, but it is kind of like faded away. The three-dimensionality is not quite there with this carbon fiber texture. And then of course we've got these very small like slit style headlights, although they do have a lot of detail, and a full acrylic piece that covers it. And we've got a beautifully executed Koenigsegg logo finished off in silver in the center as well. And the split lines are really well modeled, so no loss of detail with the paint or anything like that. And then heading into the front, we've got a really deep looking front intake. Let me get some light there for you. And we have a lot of three-dimensional texture on the air intakes as well, which is a beautiful detail. To be honest with you, I think even the 1/18 scales actually got more of a smooth finish on the center. So this is actually a little bit of an improvement on that. And then of course we've got this front splitter finished off in this beautiful carbon fiber texture, which you can see is split equally down the center. And then we've got a little canard in the front, also finished off in this carbon, as well as this little air like winglet, also just finished off with this highlight, and that's really great. I just want to have a little look at this air outlet on the 118 and show you. So of course I am kind of cheating by revealing the 118 variant, but you can see the kind of three-dimensional texture that these air outlets should actually have. So this 118 I'll just be using just to translate the 164's details. And this one you can see in the center there was actually just a blanked off area, whereas it did have a little bit of a grill there, so that was good. But I don't want to speak about the 118 too much. Now we jump into the wheels of the Jesko. So of course the real car's wheels are also finished off in this beautiful carbon fiber texture, and we can really see the amount of detail that this one has in this 1/64 scale. It's even got the little white stripes on there as well, and it's even got the brake rotors as well as the calipers really beautifully modeled. So a real huge nod to the real car. The original concept variation of the Jesko did have some stripes running along the wheels themselves, so you could have seen that on the 118 I just showed. But of course these wheels are absolutely crazy, and I'll just jump to the rear ones as well. It's pretty much the same situation over here. Of course the Jesko was like extremely fast. It exceeded 300 miles an hour or 480 kilometers an hour, making it one of the fastest production cars ever built. And essentially it's these wheels that rotate at extremely rapid speeds, and they are the only thing keeping this car pretty much stuck to the floor. So into the details, we've got this little air outlet. As you can see, it's not pierced all the way through. There should be just a little bit of a black element where this fender actually goes over the side panel. So it's got some three-dimensionality, but no actual painted black area or anything like that. And then we've got this little orange accent carrying on the side. And then after that, we've also got this really nice looking side skirt as well. And it's also got these little accented colors all over it. And once again, it's also finished off in that carbon fiber. And then furthermore, heading into the side, we've got this huge air intake, and you can see it's got a lot of three-dimensional texture in there, which is beautifully modeled. And even the curve of the intake itself is really exquisite and really well executed. And then furthermore, we've got this little winglet finished off in carbon fiber, just kind of floating in midair, typical of the Jesko. Another carbon fiber thing is the rear view mirrors, and it also reflects the background too. In the side, you can see the way the light lines hit off the side of the car, that there is a lot of three-dimensional shapes in this door itself. So we've got this air outlet, although it's not finished off in black on the interior there. It would be nice if it was, but there is really a ton of three-dimensionality in this tiny scale. And you can even see this kind of line heading from the rear arch all the way to the side of the car. And it's really crisp and very well executed. Jumping into this kind of C pillar, B pillar, we've got a little Jesko logo finished off in this chrome, really nice little touch. And then we've also got some air intakes finished off in this carbon fiber texture. And then it's also finished in black, where the air would actually be channeled through to this massive engine. And then here you can see how beautifully the light lines hit off this car. So the surfaces really are exquisite. You can see as I rotate the car around, it looks really beautiful, and great modeling and great surfacing. You can see how much three-dimensionality this rear haunch has as it comes into this rear section as well. It's really an exquisite piece of design, to be honest. Got the rear lights just finished off in this red plastic, and they are separated elements. And it's kind of interesting how they are tucked underneath. It's almost got like a tuck under style, so you can't really see them from above. And even around the end of the car, it kind of folds away, and you can see the amount of three-dimensionality that the lights actually have. And it's a really nicely modeled piece of kit, especially at this scale. And then heading into the actual rear, we've got this beautiful twin exhaust just finished off in the silver and black interior, just to show the depth. And we've also got a little Jesko logo and a lot of three-dimensionality in this rear air outlet grille as well. And you can see that we've also got the little rear reflectors, as well as a carbon fiber diffuser in the rear with a little Jesko number plate, and that looks very cool. And once again, we've just got these little highlighted edges on the diffuser itself. And now we dive into the Jesko's unmistakable rear wing. It's extremely recognizable, it's extremely unique as well, and it's also adjustable. And of course, it's one of the Jesko Attack's interesting features as well. So in a combination with all the crazy active aero, the car's got this front splitter, as well as the underbody and this huge massive wing. All together combined, they can generate a downforce of 1,000 kgs or about a ton. So that is an extreme amount of downforce. It's really insane, and you of course need that much downforce at such high speeds just to keep the car on the road. And you can see how beautifully this wing has been modeled. So we've got a lot of three-dimensionality, and you can see the carbon fiber texture once again is split in half on the Y0 axis. And here it would be a little adjustable kind of clamps that allows the wing to change the kind of angle of attack on the car. And then we've got a little number 251 on the side, and once again we've got that little carbon fiber texture just continuing on the side of the wing with these little white tips, and that's really beautiful attention to detail. And we've even got these tiny Koenigsegg logos on the wing struts themselves, also finished off in this silver color. So extremely well modeled and really beautiful execution. Of course, the real wing is actually made up of separate parts, so there should actually be a channel running through, but there isn't, and this is just like one solid kind of wing piece. And then of course we've got this rear deck with a lot of three-dimensionality, with this huge dip, and you can see how massive the rear haunches of this car are. It's just really, really crazy. And then of course we've got the little engine cover in the back there, which unfortunately does not reveal too much. You can see that there is a little bit of like a strut system inside the car. And of course we've got the typical Koenigsegg Ghost Squadron logo in there as well. So this car's actually got this crazy twin turbo V8, and it can make about 1600 horsepower, which is almost double the original Veyron's original output, which is just absolutely insane. And it also features a 9-speed light speed transmission called the LST, and it changes gear in just like 20 to 30 milliseconds. So the technology in this car is absolutely epic. So now let's dive into some more details on this interior. You can see that we've got quite a lot of interesting things going on there. So we've got these beautiful bucket seats finished off in white, and it's also accented by this kind of black inserts. And then you can also see that continuing the motif from the outside, we've also got this orange sort of color strap. A huge amount of detail in the car, and you can see in the center we've got the air outlets, and that's also finished off in carbon fiber. And we've also got the little steering wheel in there as well. You can see it looks like there is a screen there, and we've got the center gears, and we've even got the little cup holders, which is very typical of Koenigsegg because they do think about, you know, usability and function for the people, not only the fact that it's an extremely crazy race car for the streets, but it's got to be usable too. And on the steering wheel you can see that it features the Koenigsegg logo as well. And now I have just briefly removed the car from its base, and I'm happy to report that the wheels do actually spin pretty freely, so they look very cool as well when they spin around. But it does have the extra wheels as well, so I'll pop those on right now. It's actually not too difficult to remove these wheels. So you've got this little back black insert, and here as well. And all you have to do is, there is a screw there and there's a screw there, but that's actually just to take the model apart, so no need for that. All you got to do is just kind of loosen this, and it just pops right off, and the whole assembly looks like this. And you can see that the wheel rotors, the brake rotors, are actually embedded onto this, so the spare wheels will have those as well. And it's the same case for the back. And here you have the alternate wheels. So they've got this kind of double 5-spoke look to them. It almost looks like a little bit of a flower or something. And they also, once again, spin around extremely freely, and they look pretty cool when they're spinning around, to be honest. But let me know down below which wheels you prefer, the originals or the ones that's had on, or do you kind of like this? I think it's a bit weird that the sides are not really highlighted. It's kind of random looking, to be honest, but yeah, I think it's probably up to personal preference. I think if it had those accented edges on the tires themselves, then these would look really, really awesome. But it's definitely an interesting look. But now let's see how the Tarmac Works compares. And now we jump into the Tarmac Works variant. So this is available with a blister pack as well. However, this large box variant came out this year earlier on, and you can see it says it includes a card pack as well, which is kind of a new thing that Tarmac Works has been coming out. So beautiful box, Koenigsegg logos all over the place, and you can see that we've got this nice motif. And then you've got a little bit of writing on the back, just as Koenigsegg Attack white. And then here we've got some images of what the cards might show us as well. Pretty much easy to remove. And here we go, the car comes straight out, and we've got the little sticker pack underneath here, or not sticker pack rather, I should say collectible trading cards, Koenigsegg Jesko Attack, and then it's got some kind of numbers, 2 cards per pack, so that's kind of interesting for the hardcore collectors. And here we have the car itself. Wow, it looks pretty awesome, to be honest with you, just at a straight glance. And it's just once again in this kind of blister pack, typical of these new type of Koenigsegg releases from Tarmac Works. So you can just remove this top piece. It can be tricky with gloves, but there you have it. And here's the car itself, and wow, I must say it's extremely striking straight away. Wow, that looks really, really impressive. So let's get it out of there quick. There you have it. Wow. Okay, well, that's very interesting. I see quite a lot of differences already, as I'm sure you do as well. So there's probably not much reason to beat around the bush. So let's just kind of dive straight into it. The paint quality itself, once again on this model, is very nice too. You can see how beautifully glossy the paint is. Of course, with white it's not always easy to see, but this does have a really exquisite finish. And then once again we've got this little stripe, and this is a little bit more glossy than it was on the CM variation. I can do a little bit of a side-by-side shot of the two, and you can see that there is quite a bit of a color differentiation as well, and it's actually kind of good to have the two side by side. So looking at the detail work, we've got this front, this top kind of window into the car once again, and we've just got the same type of glass, but it's probably easier just to compare the two, to be honest with you. So you can see straight away on the interior that we have a lot more detail on the CM model, whereas on this one, while it is modeled pretty nicely, it is pretty much a straight black interior with not too much to be seen. So we've got the steering wheel in there, and it seems to have a Koenigsegg logo on there as well. You can see it just slightly there. You can see a little bit of a shape, although I don't really see much else. And the seats definitely are just finished off in this black, but you can see that it's got these really cool looking bucket seats, and actually the center looks to have a little bit of a different texture to it, but there's no difference in coloring or anything like that. So a little bit more simplistic than the CM version for sure, but it's still really beautiful modeling on the interior nonetheless. And then once again we head into this front intake, and this has also got a three-dimensional texture, and once again this little accented highlight running along the edge, and you can see the difference in the shape. So this CM model's air outlet actually seems to have a little bit more of a squared off edge as opposed to this Tarmac Works, because this one's quite a lot more rounded. And to be honest, just for the sake of checking it, let's just see the 118 variant, and that's over here. So the 118, you can see it's quite a lot more rounded as opposed to this kind of squared off finish of the CM model. So that's kind of an interesting little thing, to be honest. But continuing with the details, we head into these little air outlets, and now in this case you can see that this Tarmac variant has actually quite a lot more three-dimensionality and closely resembles the 118 variant, whereas the CM model unfortunately lost quite a lot of that quality with that carbon fiber texture. So the carbon fiber texture is a beautiful finish. Unfortunately, the livery though has lost that three-dimensionality. So I would say in this case, this Tarmac Works leads with these details, the fact that this is the correct shape and that looks correct as well. And then we've got these really beautiful headlights just finished off in black once again. I don't really see any like silver accenting, although from this angle you can see it, but from this angle it just all seems black. So I think there's just a piece of plastic, but there is a nice little acrylic cover over it, and you can see how beautiful this metallic flake is on the paintwork itself. So I want to compare that with the CM model. So Tarmac is just a little bit more metallic flake in it, to be honest. And then we've got the little Koenigsegg logo finished off in silver, and this little line in the center continuing down in the front of the car. And of course the CM model had that in a three-dimensional look, but it had quite a lot deeper sort of shut lines for the front area as well. And you can see the difference in the size of the headlights as well. It's quite a lot different, and got quite a different feel and characteristic to the car overall. And then we've got this front intake. You can see the Tarmac actually seems to be like a thinner kind of split as opposed to the CM. But diving into the details, this more closely resembles the 118 variant. So we've got those straight flush edges on the interior there, and then we've got little three-dimensional air intakes on both sides. And then this time we've got a black front lip as well, and it's finished off in this kind of interesting looking satin black. So I kind of liked this carbon fiber texture of the CM. I think that just looks a little bit more professional, but this gives a nice contrast, and they are pretty different though, to be honest. And then here we've got this little front canard, and you can see that this is actually not a separate element. It just looks to be that they have modeled this in the metal itself, in the die casting, and just kind of painted it off in this black. So the CM model, you can clearly see that it had those separated canards finished off in that carbon fiber. So I think the CM will take the win on that one. And then we've got this kind of accent on the edge there as well. And now jumping into the wheels, you can see they spin around really beautifully. And one of the really nice things is that these wheels actually do have the highlighted edge on the tires, which I really think makes the look of the Jesko, because it essentially makes the wheels look bigger. And we've even got the little Michelin Man logo on the side, and we've got a little silver center cap. There's no Koenigsegg logos, and unfortunately no brakes and no calipers, so that's quite a shame. And I wish they did that. Tarmac Works always seems to skip on the brake details. I'm not really sure why, but it would be a really beautiful addition. And then heading to the side of the car, so once again we've got this little air outlet. It's also just a three-dimensional kind of shape, but there's no undercut or anything like that, and looks kind of simplistic, to be honest. Although they do have this air channel running from the front wheels as well, and once again it's got quite a lot of three-dimensionality in the sides. Although I have to say, I think the CM variant did a little bit of a better job with the overall three-dimensionality of the doors themselves. So although this blade kind of motif runs really nicely in this Tarmac version, and you can see once again that this little lip, or I suppose like fin winglet, is also just part of the metal and just finished off in black, as opposed to it being a separate piece. And now the rear view mirrors are just finished off in black with the white paint color. So that's a little bit different to the CM, where this one was actually finished off in carbon fiber. So quite a lot of differences between these two cars. Although I do feel like these accent colors are more true to the real car than they are on the CM variant. The side intake as well, also just finished off in a plain black, no three-dimensionality to speak of or anything like that. So definitely the CM models one was a lot closer to the real life, as well as the 118 variant in that. But the shut lines of the doors seem to be very nicely done, as well as the DLO. It looks really incredible with that black accent running around all the windows themselves. So that's a nice finish. And then here we've got the little Jesko logo, once again just finished off in a kind of silver. And then we've got these really deep intakes, once again with this kind of black accent, and the interior seems to be white, so I'm pretty sure that should be black. But I must say these are really deep and they show a lot of three-dimensionality for these side air intakes. And then once again, beautiful gloss sections and really amazing three-dimensionality in the modeling. And once again, you can see how deep this rear haunch is and how much depth this kind of rear deck has in there. It's really impeccable. It's really crazy. And of course, rear wheels pretty much the same as the front. Great spin on them, and I really like the color, but once again, just those brakes are lacking a little bit. Rear lights, once again, a separate element, just like they were on the CM model. So here's a quick comparison between the two. They don't look entirely too different, to be honest. That's one of the areas that you can't really do too much with, I suppose, in terms of differentiation. But jumping into the back section here, you can see that the Tarmac Works actually has an exhaust surround that's kind of like one big exhaust surround, whereas the CM model was kind of split into two parts. So there is quite a lot of difference with those. And on the rear here, you can actually see that we've once again got the Jesko logo on the number plate, just finished off in black. And we've also got the little rear reflectors, the Jesko writing finished off in silver, and a little bit of three-dimensionality in those grille outlets, although I think the CM model had a little bit of a different shape. So you can see where the exhaust is, the Tarmac Works kind of finishes the white off in the center of the exhaust, whereas this one kind of wraps above the exhaust. So that's kind of an interesting little feature. It's very strange. I don't know if the real ones would have any kind of differentiation like that, but I'll check the 118 in a moment. And once again, we've got this really awesome looking diffuser just finished off in this gloss black. So the CM was carbon fiber, so that's a little bit of a difference. And once again, we come to this insanely massive Jesko wing. Beautiful little execution. We've got the Koenigsegg logo underneath it, so I think that was an element missing on the CM. And of course the CM is just full carbon, and once again it doesn't have the hole pierced through, but the Tarmac Works actually does have the pierce through, so you can see my glove through that hole over there, number 251 once again. And you can actually see that it's got a lot of three-dimensionality in this rear wing as well, and it's actually made up of those two separate little elements. Jumping into the 118 variant, just extremely briefly, you can see the way that the exhaust is executed. So it does have this large surround, but the center is split with this little chrome, and the white actually executes above the exhaust itself. And of course we've got the little Koenigsegg logo underneath the wing, and of course it's got that three-dimensional part of the wing, so you can see my glove right through it. And this is essentially how it should look. So you can see who got close and who didn't get that close. And now jumping back to the Tarmac, you can actually see that it's got these little black air channels or outlets. CM models did have that, but it was just finished off in white. And the 118s are also in black. And of course, continuing the rear deck, once again we've got the Ghost Squadron logo, and unfortunately not really so much visible in the glass. So you would be able to see out from the car in there, but the engine is pretty much almost non-existent in this car. So we did have a tiny bit of details on the CM, although still not entirely too much, but the Tarmac Works seems to be lacking even those small bits of detail, unfortunately. So very simplistic on the overall interior quality of this car. Of course the other side looks pretty much identical. The ride height could be a little bit lower, although the size of the wheels seem to be pretty good for the car, to be honest. They were a little bit too big on the Agera RS, which I have reviewed previously, link down below. But these ones seem to be pretty good for the car and pretty fitting. And just quickly, getting back to these trading cards, I didn't want to open these, to be honest with you, but just for completeness, I thought I will do it for you guys, just for the sake of the video. So with the Tarmac Works, these are the type of cards you get, and wow, that is an awesome looking picture, my word. That's a beautiful picture of the Jesko. That's very cool. And then here we've got the frontal shot as well, and that's another really awesome picture. And on the back, on both of them, let's have a look. KJA 2024-003 and 004. So I'm guessing there's different types of cards, and it seems to be both of them say the exact same thing. And they've got like specifications as well as little Koenigsegg logos, weight, capacity, etc, etc. So really nice little pieces of information, and I thought I'd just open these up for you just for completion of you know, to show you what it includes. And here we have the two cars side by side, and to be honest, I would really love to hear what your guys' reaction is and what your feedback is, and which one of these two cars you prefer, or which one you think wins overall. To be honest, it's a really tough decision. CM usually has a lot higher kind of details and a lot higher model than Tarmac Works generally. And in this case, I think they've done an exquisite job, especially all the colors on the interior, all the extra little pieces of extra modeling. So they've got the little winglets finished off in carbon on the side, they've got the canards finished off in carbon, and they've even got all the wheel like accessories. You know, they've got the extra set of wheels and even have the brakes and calipers, and that's a huge amount of detail that they have really put into this model. So that would typically put the CM model at the front of the kind of battle of these two cars. However, I think the Tarmac Works has really managed to catch up to the CM with this delivery. It's a newer car, so I think they've had more time to work on it. And to be honest, some of the things that are more precise on the Tarmac really surprise me. The fact that you've got those air vents above the wheels, that's a real like well executed piece. And then of course we've got all the details of the rims themselves, as well as the writing on the tires, and of course even the shape of that front air outlet on the boot in the front, as well as the split wing. So really pros and cons to both of these cars, but the Tarmac Works still is a little bit more simplistic. So the canards are still the same piece, and even the side profiles not quite as deep as the CM model. So really it's an extremely tricky decision. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. Of course, price wise, the Tarmac Works is a little bit cheaper than the CM, but they're both sitting around the 20 to 30, 40 pound mark, depending on which one you can pick up and from where. So that was a crazy comparison. And of course, that wraps up our showdown between the CM models and the Tarmac Works. Two takes on the legendary Koenigsegg Jesko in 1:64 scale. And of course, if you have enjoyed this comparison, please make sure to check out that 1:18 full Jesko review just shown down below, plus a lot more Koenigsegg content on the channel, including this amazing blue Koenigsegg Agera RS, which is a members only model, as well as this beautiful orange CC850 and another CC850, as well as this amazing looking blue Regera, as well as a whole lot more other Diecast Hypercar madness. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and let me know in the comments which Jesko wins it for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Ciao.